Hello everybody, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Carole. Now, if you've never met me before, I have sewn all my life. I love sewing. It is my hobby and I love it with a passion. I do other crafts as well, but sewing is tops. So this video today is going to be one of my I can sew that videos. So this is a little mini series. I did some last year and I started one again a few weeks ago where I see something when I'm out and about, or I see it comes up on my phone, as these things do now. All these shops advertise on your phone left, right and centre. And I was looking at this top and I thought, I absolutely love that. I need that top in my life, but I can sew that. So that's how it came about. Now, the video I did a few weeks ago was a beautiful white t-shirt. It came out so well. It was relatively simple to do. It was the tie white top. If you haven't seen that video, I will put the link up above. But it was simple, it was clean, I knew exactly what I was doing. This time round, although I chose probably one of the most simplest, quickest patterns that New Look have ever created, it took me days. I think it's what you call a labour of love, but it actually suited just the week I've had the last couple of weeks. I'll explain more when I get to it. So what pattern did I use and what inspired me? So I'm going to put a picture up now of the t-shirt that I saw online. Honestly, there is something about an embroidered t-shirt that I love. I don't think I even have any anymore, but if I ever came across in the shop, before I made 95% of my clothing, because that's actually what I do now. I sew, I think 95% of my wardrobe is handmade now, which I love because it's all things I've created. I saw this and I thought, oh, I really want to have a go, and I know it's going to be a hard old graft, but that top itself is so simple. I'm sure I can do it. As you can see, it's a lovely colour. I love the embroidery on it. I just fell in love. I knew I needed something like that in my life. So looking at the shape of it, immediately my all-time favourite New Look pattern came into. I like to, if you know me on my channel, there are two t-shirt sort of top patterns that I use all the time because I can change them up to however I want and I just love them. That's New Look 6216 and New Look 6217. New Look 6216 I actually used in my white t-shirt that I did a few weeks ago. This one here. Now I know I'll confuse a lot of people because it is designed for woven fabrics. I mean, it's talking cotton blends, linens, silk, jacquard, silk, but it does say at the end, matte jerseys. Never quite understand what they mean about matte jersey, but I have made this in a jersey and I've made it so many times in viscose rounds. I've made it in linen viscose. I just love this top. I think I've even made it in a double gauze. If I'm doing the woven, I do make it slightly bigger, just slightly over the edge, but the knit I just keep the same. I just love it. I have made this in the past actually, this throw over here. So back to the top. That was the shape. I could see that was going to be the shape. So simple, I'll make this top. Now, what we need to do is look a bit closer at what I had to create. So this comes with a back keyhole opening. Top secret, I never do that. I actually cut this back on the fold and I never do the little opening at the back. Shall I tell you why? A, you don't need it because it's actually quite wide, and I'll come back to that again, remind me. But I've got long hair, and if I have a opening at the back, if I put a button, something happens to my hair where it just goes round and round and round. You know, as you're turning like this, it just gets trapped and it drives me insane. So if I don't need it, I don't put it in. And this occasion I didn't. I think I've only done it once. So that was the shape. So front on the back on a fold. However, down the front of this garment, and you can see you had 2 lines of blanket stitch. So embroidered blanket stitch, you know, that good old, if you remember, go back to those good old blankets you used to get with actual blanket stitch around it down the front. And I thought the only way that I'm going to get that straight without going all wavery is to create a front placket. And I have to say, I am going to be doing one of these, even if it's not embroidered, because I loved the look. So if I show you what I actually did, I cut, I think I did 1 inch out. So you had the fold here, imagine this is the fold, and I came over another inch. So in other words, I could then flatten it back and make a placket, and I top stitch either side. If I have a photo, I will put it in. I know I tried it on with that front placket down. Look at it, look how smart that looks. I absolutely loved that. There was something about just that detailing. It's really nice, and I would definitely do that again. And all it was, I just brought the whole pattern piece over, created more of a gap between the fold line and the fold of the fabric, and you had this pleat and you could fold it back, and then I top stitched it. So that was brilliant. That's what I needed to make sure when I sewed down that front that it was going to be dead straight. Now, of course, if you know my channel, you'll know that I've got an embroidery machine. It's a Brother embroidery machine, a very basic one. Absolutely love it. But it was what I would call a starter machine to see if you're interested in embroidery or not. It's got a 4" by 4" hoop, so that's 10 by 10, which if you are embroiderer, you'll know that is small. So any designs I do on it, I couldn't do, for example, if I put the picture in again, I couldn't do this whole big design that they had there. So I knew I would have to do it in pieces. Now you will know that that takes a long time. So all I ended up doing was these 3 pieces of embroidery here, which took a long time to do, but that was kind of it because it was so fiddly. Now, of course, I was never going to get the same design as the original t-shirt, but that's okay. You know, I think this one here, whereas I've tried to do a lot of exact copies, this was more kind of in the style of this embroidered t-shirt rather than trying to copy it straight off. I nearly forgot to, and I do this all the time, I always forget to mention how I've got quite narrow shoulders, and this is all I do just to bring it in, to stop it kind of falling off my shoulder. I literally pinch 1 centimetre. So as you can see, it doesn't really affect this side at all. I just pinch this, and this particular time I was even more lazy and I just put the pin in. But if I take the pin out, you can see what a difference that makes. It brings it in, so this brings it in here, stops it slipping off my shoulders. Give it a try. It's a really easy way of just trying to stop that sort of, you know, where your bra strap's showing. So I pinched 1 centimetre, left everything the same, and that kind of works for me. So what did I have then? I had my t-shirt with my front placket and the embroidered. Then I knew that I would have to hand embroider the rest. There was no way my machine could do cuffs or a neckline. And that's when the labour of love started. So I love hand sewing. I don't know, your mind just kind of wanders. When you know what you're doing, your mind just kind of wanders and you're just sewing and just making sure the stitches are the same. There's something about it. I was actually, when I sewed this last week, I've actually away from my sewing room. So this was actually all I had to still connect me with my hobby, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. So I think it's about time I showed you my version, my creation of the t-shirt that I saw. I know you can't see all of it, but I've had to move my mannequin so close so I can show you what I did. So this is a portion of it. So on the original t-shirt, they had some big designs here. I couldn't find anything like that on my machine, but I did what I could. And what I did was add hand embroidered some little flowers just to make it look a bit bigger. They also had on the t-shirt these 3 rows of running stitches. I have to say, this thing has taken me hours and hours to do. It is not exactly the same because you could go on adding more and more, but this is as close as I'm gonna get. So these 3 rows of running stitches, I can't believe to tell you how long this takes to do that. So then we have the blanket stitch. As you can see, if you can see underneath there is the placket, and what it really does is kind of sew the placket down, and it is dead straight. I don't think I could have got that if I'd have just sewn blanket stitch down. Also, I learnt as I was embroidering on the jersey, if I had a couple of layers, it was much better. It didn't crinkle up, it didn't pull the fabric. So actually that turned out really well. We got 3 rows of the red here. So I had a chain stitch, remember the daisy chain stitch? And I've got a twisted chain stitch. And then in the middle, I've just got, what did I just do then? I think I just did a straight stitch, and then the yellow comes down as well. Yeah, and that's all. And then on the bottom, there should have been 3 rows. And there should have been the yellow again. I couldn't face it. So along the bottom, just on that, the seam is cover stitch, but on the top line, I've just done another long chain stitch. So that is what we have. I think that gives a better idea. The violina in. So I'm really pleased with it. It's pretty, it's different, it's delicate. Did I put anything on the back? No. I've got that neckline there, and obviously you can see the running stitches in on the back and the back hem, but that's it, nothing on the back. It's just too labour intensive. These designs came out beautifully on the embroidery machine, which I was really pleased at, but they themselves took a long time to place, put in, move across, place, put in. So it's pretty, and it's my version of it. Now, what I will do, of course, is show you me wearing it, and you can see the fit is spot on. I absolutely love this top. I made the same size every time, and I'm really pleased with the shape of it. I love these grown on sleeves. It just means you can adapt this t-shirt to however you want. And I can say I'm in love, and I can't wait to wear it in summer, maybe with some kind of white trousers or white shorts or something like that. But I really love it. One thing, of course, I've got to tell you is actually what thread I used to embroider a lot of it. So as you can see, I've only really got the 2 colours, the red and the yellow. So the red was the Anchor, DMC Pearlized Cotton. That's not like embroidery floss, it's more sort of twisted. There's a tiny bit there if you can see that. It's kind of twisted, so it's not like the embroidery floss where you'd separate it. And the yellow, I couldn't get this in yellow, and I was gutted about this. I could only get some thinner version Pearlized Cotton, and this is thinner weight. But that was okay, it did the job, but I really wish, I can't even work out what this was. It was something like Got One or Cotone Ricamo, does that sound right? But yeah, it was thinner than this, which was a bit of a shame. But there's something about yellow in this kind of stuff that wherever I went, it was all sold out. So I had no choice, went for the thinner stuff. And actually it did the job. I don't know if you can see, I've even done the little centres of the little flowers. So as I said in the beginning, it was a labour of love. I absolutely loved doing it. It was therapeutic. I will never do it again. I have to say, I would do the odd flower, but I would never do something as complicated as this. So I'm going to enjoy this for years, wear it for years. But I'm really pleased with it. So that was my second of 2025 I Can Sew That garments. New look 617 with a lot more effort than normal. I have got another one in mind, but believe you me, it's a lot more simple than this one. I've also seen another one. You see, this is my problem. I keep seeing these things and thinking, I want to go at that. I can sew that. And that's how this series was created, because I just keep seeing this. And I love sharing with you how I go about and sort of my whole mindset about how I go about creating these things. So this one's going to be a real old friend for me in the summer, this t-shirt, and I'm really pleased I did it. Had a go. Perfect timing for me. Something like this, when you can't be in your sewing room, you can take it wherever you are and just have a go every now and again. But it took hours. Thank you for joining me in my sewing room. Please don't forget to join me on the hashtag Friday Sews. I also do the Lutterlow system videos every now and again. And then, of course, I've got my Fabric Wheel of Fate, which will be coming back in the summer. Thank you so much for joining me. You're really welcome in my sewing room anytime. I will see you soon. Goodbye for now.